to write it for them.
Right.
In that case.
And I can see the older kids just write curse words.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let's go ahead and wrap up.
Yeah, I'll let
For just summarizing, closing that up, I'm gonna say
So this is
with
basically
my people, but
what we'll be doing.
I heard some really good conversations and good ideas being
Personally.
used. I mean, I know that it's such a big group of people with different behaviors that you all have to deal with on a daily basis. So I know that sometimes getting that instruction in is a challenge. So I mean, appreciate all that you guys do and trying to get in that instruction on a daily basis, and to add standard-based grading to the mix, to add, you know, making sure all those assessments done, formative assessment. It's a big challenge, and I know that you guys are doing a great job doing that. So, with that, I know that one thing that we were discussing over here was, you know, a lot of times teachers as well as parents want to see that paper-based assessment, and knowing that formative assessment doesn't always mean formal assessment is a big thing, because it's, you know, as we've talked about, the check-ins, the just, you know, talking to our students, seeing where they are, the temperature reading, to really see where to go from here is really what we want to push into our minds, that it's just really doesn't have to be paper-based formal assessment.
And I think it's challenging because it's new, we're not used to doing it, it's not something we're, you know, used to doing all the time, but I think just realizing that it's a process, and if we keep it in mind and do it slowly, it will, you know, it'll work out.
Alright,
Okay, so just in summary then, so like I said, it's a process, it's not like a one-time, you know, hand out a paper, it's continuous. It's strategically aligned to learning objectives, and it's ongoing with feedback for teachers and students. So with the papers, you know, we're used to seeing A, B, or percentage grade, but really what needs to be on there is specifically, Bobby, I saw you did, you know your 2s in multiplication, okay, now let's start practicing our 3s, you know, really specific feedback, because really we're not seeing how effective a letter or a percentage is, so we really need to have feedback on there. And it also helps teachers plan more effectively for students, and matching what they need, so we're not misfiring. Okay, so then if you want to just kind of reflect, what's your plan to move students' learning forward? Are your objectives clear? Are they aligned with this summative? And will this provide valuable data? So you want to keep those in mind. And then just looking back at what, from the beginning, where we had you kind of think about which is important, which is more important, formative or summative. Did any of your, are you still at where you started, or have your thoughts changed at all?
And they're both really important, so
It depends on what you look
it's really hard to say
at, what
which one's more
information you're
important.
trying to get.
What kind of data are you trying to get?
What we want you to kind of walk away with is, like, for our ideas of, yes, the summative is ultimately, it's an important role within having to put, you know, a grade in to show that our students are having learning, we are teaching the standards. However, with the formative assessment, for us to get to that summative, and, you know, as Mr. Brown was saying, you know, looking at learning as a verb to learn, the formative assessment is always going to be the one that's driving that. So, any questions? Alright, again, thank you all for taking your time coming here today and participating. We do have a feedback form in your folder. We really appreciate your feedback.
This one?
Yes, ma'am.
And I have one more ticket that I wanted to pull, so let's see who's the lucky one. Who's the lucky one?
It would be hilarious if you guys got it again.
Here.
No, it
Pregnant
wouldn't.
women are lucky.
Better not.
All right.
What's the other one?
I think you cheated.
I'm pretty sure.
Thank you.
Thank you
and
all
have a
again, and let me
wonderful
know if you
feedback
guys
session.
think.
Yay, great job, great job.